So, the translations are out for My Hero Academia Manga Chapter 368, and boy oh boy is this a doozy of a chapter. We have cool action, cool reveals, and a very interesting color page for this chapter. So, before we get into anything else, let's jump right into it. But first, right after this. Hey guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Manga Man Drew, and I'm here to do my manga review for My Hero Academia Manga Chapter 368, titled One for All Unleashed, with a very dynamic color page of a fully revealed Hagakure with her face fully revealed, as well as a lot of other stuff of her body fully revealed. Yeah, this was something that most likely caused controversy on Twitter, but yeah, it's Twitter, what else are you supposed to do? But this is the chapter that we are going to be talking about, My Hero Academia Manga Chapter 368, and there's a lot that needs to be talked about in this chapter. For instance, what's going on between All For One and Shigaraki inside of this new Shigaraki's body, that gets revealed in this chapter. What's going on with Deku and his new ability that he's able to use, that's something else that we need to discuss. And finally, the ending of this chapter being extremely bombastic and amazing, and what this could imply for Deku when it comes to how powerful he is. So, with all those things out the way, let's dive more into the review proper. Also, My Hero Academia Season 6 coming out this week. I'm very hyped. Alright, that out the way, let's dive into it. So the chapter pretty much starts off from where we last left off last chapter, with Deku trying to question Shigaraki on whether or not Shigaraki is in there, and this new individual, who I will just be referring to as Shigaraki, responds with, "Oh, are you talking about Tomer Shigaraki? Oh no, he's no longer in here. We've fused together, become this new being. However, All For One has more control or more influence, so yeah, you're not going to get a happy ending." That's pretty much the gist of it. We get confirmation of a sense that yes, this individual once again is a new person. It is a new personality. However, All For One does have a lot more influence on this character than Shigaraki does, which is the main reason why people are saying that this is just All For One and not Shigaraki, even though it is a new individual that has both All For One personality and Shigaraki's personality. The only difference is that All For One's personality is more prominent, but Shigaraki still resides in this new individual. And this emphasized even more with, even though he's trying to chastise Deku by saying that he's not going to have a happy ending, and Deku is very brought aback by that, Mio chimes in by pretty much saying that, yeah, no, that's not actually accurate. We've been able to pressure him for a while, and when we did so, a child came out of him. So I do not think that Shigaraki is actually gone, in reference most likely to Tomer. So the idea that even though he is a fused being, he is still unstable by the fact that they were able to get a glimpse of Shigaraki out of him, as in Tomer Shigaraki was able to take control of him even for just a moment. And that this is even confirmed by the vestige of Nana looking at one of the hands of Shigaraki, recognizing her own child, and telling Deku that yeah, he is still inside of there, where we get a bombastic rest of the chapter of just cool and ultimately amazing fighting panels. And probably what I liked most about this chapter is something that Horikoshi does a lot in his manga. How he's able to separate the panels themselves with the action or the word choices in this chapter. And I feel that this is a chapter that we as Americans won't be able to get the full grasp on because of how much kanji is used, and that this is not something that is inherent to our own language. So yeah, we see a lot of cool action, and we also get a new move out of Deku where we get a combination of Black Whip and Fajin, where it's infused together, called Black Chain. And if you didn't know, it looks like a chain, and it's apparently glowing with energy, so most likely it is stronger than just normal Black Whip. But unfortunately, Shigaraki in this moment is more powerful than that. He's able to break through. He once again chastises Deku for saying, "Oh, I won't fall for the same tricks twice." But even with all that chastising, it is revealed that we are getting another quirk of Deku's in this chapter. The second uses quirk. It is revealed in this chapter, and it's revealed to be transmission. And we see it in action as we see that Shigaraki is standing on a destroyed platform being sent into the air, and then he randomly gets sent up into the air after Deku does very much like a transmission motion. And for those who don't know what a transmission is, it's kind of like it's pretty much driving with a stick. The same things that you have with like a normal car where you just go from like reverse, drive, second gear, third gear. It's the same thing, but instead you have a stick shift where most likely than not you're actually moving the gears physically and moving them into different positions. And that's kind of what Deku is doing in this when it comes to his hand motion. It's like he's driving a stick shift, and by doing so, he's able to go into different gears, where he goes into a second gear, a third gear, and a top gear. And from the explanation of this chapter, what this technique does, what transmission, or another way we can call it is gear shift does, is that it's able to change the speed of anything that the user touches and shift it or change its speed. And that's kind of what Deku is doing this entire fight. He's either affecting his own speed, which is why within the fight and in this chapter, Shigaraki has a hard time finding or seeing where Deku is. And secondly, it's the reasoning why Shigaraki just moves randomly in this chapter without actually being touched. And we see that yeah, Shigaraki does take a fair amount of damage by Deku with blood coming out of his mouth, and once again, the amazing use of the kanji or katakana in this chapter when it comes to the emphasis on how powerful Deku is at this moment by him literally sending Shigaraki into the air without a sound because the sound itself gets delayed and we see it via the kanji itself. Gosh, this is so cool. I really just enjoy these type of moments in My Hero Academia where we get to see just how Horikoshi is able to use the manga to its advantage by either making the different boxes in correlation or relating to the actual kanji being used, or just doing creative ways of actually paneling the manga and shaping the manga panels themselves. I really do enjoy this about My Hero Academia, and it's not something that you see very much in other manga forms as far as I'm aware. So we're pretty much towards the end of this chapter where Deku finally pulls off his final attack in this chapter called Overdrive and just slams Shigaraki into the ground with a Detroit smash as we have the first user talking to his brother about how when it comes to Deku, this is what you would call going from 100% to 120% as he smashes into Shigaraki, ending the chapter. And this was a very amazing chapter for My Hero Academia. Not only was the action amazing, but we got to see a major reveal of the second user's work, as well as a little bit more confirmation of what's going on with Shigaraki as a person. And the fact of the matter is that he is unstable. He's not all for one. He is a new being that is being controlled more by All For One, but is not strictly All For One. He is a combination of All For One and Shigaraki Tomura fused together, but that fusion is becoming more unstable for Shigaraki to take control more often than not. So it's cool that we're getting that reveal. It's cool that we got a lot of action. This is probably some of the best action that we've had, if not in the war, if not in the entire story, for how dynamic it can be. And I can't wait for it to be animated later on when season 7 or season 8 comes out of My Hero Academia. But yeah, there's a fair amount that I would like to talk about in this chapter, and I think I will wait more for the official translations to come out, because there is a line that All For One Shigaraki brings up about how he's going to take his brother's quirk back, and that's something interesting that I would like to dive into more once I get the official translations, because that implies that it's not something that he wants just for the ability to like rule the world. We already know that his goal is more or less to be the embodiment of a villain and make sure that everyone doesn't have a happy ending in a sense, but the fact that he specifically identifies One For All as his brother's quirk may mean that there is some underlying like other reasonings why he actually wants the quirk back. Maybe it's because it's something that he never had or could never have, and when it comes to All For One, he is someone that craves everything or craves quirks that he really can't have naturally. So maybe that's it, maybe it's something else, I cannot say for certain. All I know is that I really enjoyed this chapter, and hopefully you enjoyed this review. And let me ask you, what did you think of the chapter? What was your favorite part? And what do you think of the second user's quirk? Do you think that is extremely overpowered, or do you think that it's kind of underwhelming? I think what I like about this quirk the most is the fact that it is inherently a utility-based quirk. It's not something that is super powerful, not necessarily something that is super broken, but something that is just used for utility and is used to boost what Deku already has and not necessarily to increase it to massive extents. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about this chapter. Hopefully you enjoyed the chapter, hopefully you enjoyed this review. Leave your thoughts down in the comments down below, leave a like on the video if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content like this. Do all that cool jazz, and hopefully I'll be able to catch you in my next video. Goodbye!